Okay, I'm going to start doing the safety start. Make sure it's in neutral. Instrument panel swipe. Start the truck up. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my emergency equipment. Okay, I've got my seat belt. It's properly mounted and secured. Latches, unlatches, not cut, frayed, or dry rotted, adjusted for me. Next thing I've got is I got a variety of spare fuses. Okay. Next thing I've got is I've got my fire extinguisher. My driver's side door well right here is charged, ready to go for this truck, properly mounted and secured. Okay. Last piece of emergency equipment I've got is I got 3 bi-reflective triangles in the side box outside. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my windshield. Okay. Windshield of the truck, driver and passenger side window, driver and passenger side flat and convex mirror, all properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or shattered out, clean and clear, free of obstructions and stickers. Okay. Got my windshield wipers, they will operate smoothly. My arms are not bent, cracked, or broke. Okay. Not missing any nuts or bolts. My blades are not torn, cut, ripped, or dry rotted. Okay, in good condition, working order. Okay, windshield washer fluid works. Okay, my AC works. AC works. Defrost and heat work. Okay. Next thing after that, guys, is I got my city horn. It works. Highway horn. It works. Okay. Moving over here to my instrument panels, I got my left turn signal indicator, right turn signal indicator, four-way flashers. Lights are on auto, low beam indicator, and high beam indicator. Okay, next thing I've got is I've got my oil pressure gauge, slowly rising operational level. There are no lights illuminated around it to indicate there's a problem with the truck's oil pressure. Above that, I've got my temperature gauge, slowly rising operational level. There are no warning lights illuminated around it to indicate there's a problem with the truck overheating. Next thing after that, I've got my volt meter. It's at 13.8 volts. It's charging the alternator and the battery. There are no warning lights illuminated around it that the truck is losing voltage. Next thing after that, I got my primary and my secondary air pressure gauge. Okay, they have slowly risen. The governor cutout rate, which is 120 to 140 psi. Okay, there are no warning lights around it to indicate there's a problem with the truck losing air pressure. Okay, that being said, I'm going to do a tug test on my trailer brakes. Okay, it's at 120 to 140 psi. Successful. Decent. I'm going to build my air pressure back up to 120 to 140 psi governor cutout rate, and I'm going to do a tug test on my tractor brakes. 120 to 140 psi. Test successful. Okay. I'm going to let it build up to 120 to 140 psi governor cutout rate. While it's doing that, I'm going to explain my service brake test. After my air pressure has reached 120 to 140 psi governor cutout rate, I would put the truck in gear. This is my service brake test. I would put the truck in gear, release the parking brakes on the tractor and trailer, pull the truck forward at 5 miles an hour, apply the service brake, make sure the truck does not pull to the left or the right, and it comes to a complete stop. Cutout rate, 120 to 140 psi. Do an air leak test. I'm going to apply my foot to the service brake pedal. I'm going to check to make sure I do not lose no more than
4 psi in 1 minute.
Within 1 minute, would you please time me? You guys tell me when you want me to go.
Go.
Go. Okay. Test successful. Next test I'm going to do is going to be a low air warning light test. I'm going to fan my brakes down to
55 psi.
55 psi. What's going to happen then?
Air pressure indicator lights go on.
Low air warning lights going to come on the dash. Okay, test successful. Now guys, what's the last test I'm gonna do?
The pop-out valve.
Spring brake button
spring
test.
valve.
Okay, how am I gonna do that?
You're going to fan the brakes down to approximately 40 psi and the spring brake button should pop out.
Okay. Test successful. Okay. This concludes my in-cab inspection. Okay. Would you please assist me on checking the lights on the outside of the truck and the trailer? Up at the top of my cab, I have my identification lights and my clearance lights. Down at the bottom, I have low and high beam headlights, four-way flashers, turn signals, and parking lights. On the rear of the truck, I have brake lights, turn signals, four-way flashers, and parking lights and brake lights. Reverse lamp, I have a reverse lamp, okay. On the rear, on the side of the trailer, I have the front and rear marker lights, intermediate, four-way flasher, turn signal, and parking lights. Driver side rear, ABS lamp. The rear of the trailer, up at the top, I have my identification lights and clearance lights up at the top. Down at the bottom, I have brake lights, turn signals, four-way flashers, and parking lights. Okay? And at that time, what she'll do, she'll get out of the truck, she'll stop it, she'll go through all of them. When she does that, that's when you see her walking up, that's when you want to start the truck up. Like I said, this is very important, guys, okay? Turn the wheel all the way to the left, but don't hold it, okay? Don't hold it. Don't hold it tightly. And release your hood. Do your hood release, take the keys, put them in your pocket. Get out of the truck using 3 points of contact because she will be walking up on the driver's side, okay? Walk to the front of the truck, step back, you're going to check up under the truck, make sure there's no puddles of oil or antifreeze. Also, you're going to check the suspension, make sure that it's not leaning to the right or left drastically to indicate there's a problem with the suspension. Okay, I'm going to start up at the top. I got my identification lights and my clearance lights, okay? Both lights amber in color, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or shattered out, not missing any nuts or bolts, in good condition and working order, okay? I got my driver and passenger side low and high beam headlights, okay? Clear in color, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or shattered out, not missing any nuts, bolts, or screws, in good condition and working order. Driver and passenger side, four-way flashers, turn signals, and parking lights, okay? Amber in color, okay? Not cracked, broken, or shattered out, not missing any nuts or bolts, in good condition, working order, okay? That's good. Tilt your hood back, and walk around over here to this side. I'm going to wave my hand. I'm going to check all my hoses over here. I'm going to make sure they're coupled or clamped at both ends. They're not cut, frayed, or dry rotted, okay? And they're not leaking, okay? Start up here at the top. I've got my coolant reservoir. It's properly mounted and secured, okay? It's not missing any nuts or bolts. It's not cracked. It's not leaking, okay? I can see that it's transparent. It's between a minimum and max, okay? If it wasn't transparent, I would check the sight glass. Did not have a sight glass, I would wait for the truck to cool down, visually check it from the top, okay? Next thing I'm gonna do after that is I'm gonna check my alternator, okay? It's properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked or broke. It's not missing any nuts or bolts. It is belt driven, okay? It's in good condition and working order, okay? Down below that, I've got my water pump, okay? It's properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked or broken. It's not missing any nuts or bolts. It also is belt driven and it is not leaking, okay? Out to the side of that, I've got my serpentine belt. It's properly mounted and secured. It's not cut, frayed, or dry rotted, okay? It's at the proper tension. If I pull or push on it, it doesn't have no more than
Half inch to 3/4.
half inch to 3/4 inch of play. In good condition, working order, okay? Come around over here. Wave my hands all around here. I'm going to check all my hoses over here on this side. I'm going to make sure that they are coupled or clamped at both ends. They're not cut, frayed, or dry rotted, and they are not leaking, okay? Start up here. My oil dip stick. It's not cracked, bent, or broke, okay? The way I would check the oil, it's in good condition, working order. The way I would check the oil is I would pull it out, wipe it off, reinsert it, pull it back out, make sure it's between the add and fill. If it needed oil, I would fill it right here where it says engine oil. Okay? Next thing after that, I got my power steering pump right here. I can see that it is gear driven. Okay? It's not cracked or broken. It's not missing any nuts or bolts. It's in good condition, working order, and it is not leaking. Okay? Next thing after that is I got my air compressor. Okay? It's gear driven. Okay? It's not cracked or broken. It's not missing any nuts or bolts. It's in good condition, working order, and it also is not leaking. Okay? Next thing after that is I got my power steering reservoir right here. Okay? It's properly mounted and secured. Okay, it's not missing any nuts or bolts. It's not cracked or broken. Okay, it's not leaking. The way I would check it with the dipstick here. If it needed fluid, I would fill it here. Okay. Next thing after that is I got my steering rod, steering column, universal linkage right there. Okay. It's properly mounted and secured. Okay. It's not cracked, bent, or broke, not missing nuts or bolts, in good condition, working order. Okay? Got my power steering, or my steering gearbox right here. It's properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked or broken. It's not missing any nuts or bolts. It's in good condition, working order, and it is not leaking. Okay? Next thing after that, guys, is I'm going to check my steering linkage, which consists of my pitman arm, my drag link, my steering arm, and my tie rod. All properly mounted and secured. Not cracked, bent, or broke. Not missing any castle nuts or cotter keys. All joints and sockets in place, all in good condition and working order. Okay, start on my suspension. I got my front and rear leaf spring hanger and mount. Okay, both properly mounted and secured. Okay, not missing any nuts or bolts. Not cracked, bent, or broke. My bushing is in place. It's not damaged, in good condition, working order. Okay. Next thing after that I got my leaf spring and my U-bolts. Both properly mounted and secured. Not missing any nuts or bolts. None of them are cracked, bent, broken, missing, or shifted. All in good condition, working order. Okay? Shock absorber and shock absorber mount. Both properly mounted and secured. Not cracked, bent, or broke. My shock absorber is not leaking. Okay? In good condition, working order. And my shock absorber is not dented. Okay? Next thing after that, guys, is I got my brake hose / line right here. It's coupled or clamped at both ends. Okay, it's not cut, frayed, or dry rotted, and it is not leaking. Okay, I got my brake chamber right here. Okay, it's properly mounted and secured. It's not missing any nuts or bolts. It's not cracked, bent, broken, or dented. Okay, and it is not leaking. Okay, good condition, working order. Next thing after that I got my slack adjuster and my push rod. Okay.
Forgot to mention the clamp.
What's that?
Forgot to mention the clamp.
Yeah, the clamp is in place. Okay. Okay. Slack adjuster and push rod. Okay. Properly mounted and secured. Okay. Not cracked, bent, or broken. Not missing any pins or cotter keys. Okay. With the engine off, truck in gear, and the brakes release, I should be able to pull the push rod out no more than
1 inch.
1 inch. Okay. Next thing after that, guys, back behind the dust cover, I have the brake drum and the brake lining. Okay. Brake drum and brake lining are both properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, bent, or broke. Not missing any nuts or bolts. Okay. The brake drum is free of holes. Okay. Both are free of oil and grease. Brake lining is not worn dangerously thin, no less than
Quarter inch.
quarter of an inch. Okay. After that, guys, I got my steer tire right here. Okay. Steer tire is the only tire on this truck that has to be a virgin radial. Okay. Okay. Side walls are not cut, bulged, or bruised. Okay. My tread depth is evenly worn. Okay. It's no less than 4/32. Okay. Air pressure is somewhere around 105 psi. I would check it with an air gauge. While I'm checking it with an air gauge, I would check my valve stem and cap. Make sure my cap is in place, my valve stem is not cracked, bent, or broke. Okay? In good condition, working order, no leaks. I got my rim right here. My rim is free of rust. It's not cracked, bent, broken, or warped. Okay? Doesn't have any illegal holes or welds in it. okay? It's in good condition and working order. Next thing I got is I got my lug nuts. They are all present. None of them are cracked or broken, okay? I see no shiny threads or running rust trails, which would indicate that there's looseness, okay? In good condition, working order, okay? I will check my bolt holes to make sure they are not distorted out or wallowed or distorted out, in good condition, working order. Next thing after that is I got my hub seal right here. It's properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, bent, or broke, not missing any nuts or bolts. No leaks, in good condition, working order. Also, the sight glass shows that it's at the adequate level. Next thing after that is I got my mirror mounts right here, properly mounted and secured. Okay, they're not cracked, bent, or broke. They're not missing any nuts or bolts. In good condition, working order, strong enough to support the weight of my mirrors. Okay, I've got my truck door, hinges, and handles properly mounted and secured, not missing nuts or bolts. None of my hinges are cracked or bent. My weather stripping is present. It's not cut, frayed, or dry rotted. All in good condition, working order. Okay. Next thing after that is I got my driver's steps and my catwalk steps, both properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broke, not missing any nuts or bolts, free of debris, strong enough to support the weight of the driver. Okay. Come over here. Also, that right there is intermediate cab, four-way flasher, and turn signal. Amber in color, cracked, bent, or broke. It's not cracked, bent, or broke, not missing nuts or bolts, in good condition, working order. Okay? I'm going to start up here with my stack. It's properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, bent, or broke, not missing nuts or bolts. It's in good condition, working order. Also, it does not have any soot, which would indicate that I have an exhaust leak. Okay? Next thing after that, guys, I'm going to get my catwalk right here. It's properly mounted and secured. Okay? It's not cracked, bent, or broke. It's not missing any nuts or bolts. It's free of any debris, strong enough to support the weight of the driver. Okay? Next thing after that is I got my cross members and my longitudinal frame. Okay? Both properly mounted and secured. My longitudinal frame is free of any holes or welds. My cross members are not missing any nuts or bolts. Both strong enough to support the weight of the truck. Okay? After that, I've got my drive shaft and my universal couplings, both properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broke. Okay? Not missing any nuts or bolts, free of debris in my universal couplings. Okay? After that, I got torque/torsion rod, torsion rod, not cracked, bent, or broke, not missing any nuts or bolts. Okay? In good condition, working order. Okay? Next thing after that, I've got my service lines right here. My air service lines are not chafed. Don't have any holes in them. Okay, not scraped or chafed. They don't have any holes in them. None of my glad hands are cracked or broke, missing any nuts or bolts. They're coupled at both ends. My electrical line is not cut or spliced, not showing any wires. Okay, all positioned on the truck to where it's not dragging across the catwalk when I'm going down the road. Okay, all in good condition, working order. I've got my tank and my support straps. Okay, tank and support straps are properly mounted and secured. Okay, they're not missing any nuts or bolts. Okay, my tank is not dented, free of holes. Okay, this is not leaking. My gas fuel cap is not leaking. All in good condition and working order. Okay, next thing after that, guys, I got my splash guard right here. Splash guard is properly mounted and secured. Okay, it's not cracked or broken, not missing any nuts or bolts, in good condition, working order. Okay, next thing after that, guys, got my header board, trailer sidewall, and trailer frame. Okay, all properly mounted and secured, not dented or bulged. None of my rivets are missing. Okay, my frame is free of any holes or welds. Okay, the DOT tape runs the length of the trailer, all strong enough to support the weight that I'm hauling. Okay, next thing after that, guys, my apron and my kingpin. Okay, apron and kingpin properly mounted and secured, not cracked or bent. Okay, they're not cracked or bent. They're in good condition, working order. The apron and the skid plate, there's not a gap in between them, gap or space in between my apron and skid plate. Also, my locking jaws are locked around my kingpin shank. Okay, it's all in good condition and working order. Okay. Next thing after that, guys, I've got my skid plate right here. It's properly mounted and secured. Okay. It's properly greased. Okay. It's not cracked, bent, or broke. Also, my fifth wheel is positioned on the truck in the event that I have to make a deep turn. My rear drive tires will not come in contact with my landing gear. Okay. The locking jaws are locked in place. I mean, my fifth wheel release handle is all locked in place, and it's in good condition and working order. Fifth wheel locking jaws and safety latch all in place. Okay, so the truck's not going to come apart. Okay, so the skid plate. So up under that, I've got the sliding platform. It's properly mounted and secured. Okay, it's not cracked, bent, or broke. Okay, it's in good condition and working order. Okay, after that, I have my sliding mechanism, which is my pigtail right here, and my canister. Okay, pigtail is not cut or spliced. It's not leaking. Canister is not leaking. Okay, my pins are all in place, which means the fifth wheel is not going to slide. Okay, in good condition and working order. Okay, the next thing I've got is I got my sliding rails and mounting bolts. None of them are cracked, bent, or broke. Not missing any nuts or bolts. In good condition and working order. Okay? Next thing after that on my fifth wheel that I have is I have the actual platform. Okay, now the actual platform is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, bent, or broke. None of the welding is torn. Okay? It's not missing any nuts or bolts. In good condition, working order. Strong enough to support the weight of the trailer, the fifth wheel, and the cargo that I'm hauling. Okay, so that's all of my fifth wheel. Like I said, I checked the locker jaws. So now I'm going to move to my suspension. Next thing I'm going to check, I'm going to crawl up under the truck, or I would basically tell them right here. I've got my spring hanger and mount properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, bent, or broke. Not missing any nuts or bolts. Okay, it's in good condition, working order. Also, my bushing is not cracked or damaged. Okay. Next thing after that, guys, I got my leaf spring or my spring and U-bolts properly mounted and secured. Okay, they're not cracked, bent, broken, missing, or shifted. Not missing any nuts or bolts. In good condition and working order. Okay. Next thing after that is I got my shock absorber and my shock absorber mount. Okay, properly mounted and secured. Okay, not missing any nuts or bolts, not cracked, bent, or broke. Shock absorber is not leaking. Okay, in good condition and working order. Shock absorber is not dented. Okay. Next thing after that, guys, is I got my airbag and my airbag mounts. Okay, airbag and airbag mounts, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broke. Okay. Not missing any nuts or bolts. Okay, my airbags are not cut or dry rotted and no leaks. In good condition and working order. Okay. Next thing after that, I would crawl up under the truck. That's when I would do my brakes. I got my brake hose / line coupled at both ends. It's not cut, frayed, or dry rotted, and no leaks. Okay. Next thing after that, guys, is I got my brake chamber. Okay, brake chamber properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, bent, broken, or dented. It's not missing any nuts or bolts. The clamp is in place, and it's in good condition and working order, and no dents or leaks. Okay. Next thing after that is I got the slack adjuster and the push rod properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, bent, broken. Okay. It's not missing any nuts or bolts. It's in good condition and working order. Okay. Next thing after that is I got my back behind the dust cover. I have the brake drum and the brake lining. Okay. Both are properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, or broken. Not cracked, bent, broken, or dented or warped. Okay. The brake drum doesn't have any holes in it. Okay. Brake lining and brake drum are free of oil and grease. Brake lining is not worn dangerously thin, no less than 1/4 of an inch. Okay. Come out to my bud rims. My bud rims are evenly spaced, free of debris. Okay. Come out here to my actual drive tires. Okay. My drive tires, the sidewalls are not cut, bulged, or bruised. Okay, my tread is evenly worn. My tread is no less than 2 30-seconds. My inflation is around 105 psi. okay, 105 PSI, I would check it with an air gauge. While I'm checking it with an air gauge, I would check the valve stem and the cap, make sure it's in place, it's not cracked or dented, and no leaks, okay? Next thing after that, guys, I got my rim, okay? My rim is not cracked, bent, broken, or warped. It's free of any rust, okay? It's free of any illegal holes or welds, in good condition and working order, okay? Next thing after that is I got my lug nuts. They are all present, okay? None of them are cracked or broken. None of them have any signs of shiny threads or running rust trails, which would indicate
Looseness.
Okay? In good condition and working order. Okay, guys, what is this? Is this a hub seal or axle seal?
Axle seal.
Axle seal, properly mounted and secured, okay? Not cracked, bent, or broke, not missing any nuts or bolts. It's not leaking. It's in good condition and working order. Okay, at that point, I would look at my rear drive, okay? Look at my rear drive, and I would tell them I would do it exactly the way I did the front drive, okay? I'll crawl up under here. I'm gonna double check, make sure my locking jaws are locked around my kingpin shank, okay? I got my front and rear torque and torsion rod, okay? My cross member right here, I'm going to check to make sure it's properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, bent, or broke. It's not missing nuts or bolts. It's in good condition and working order. I got my brake lights, turn signals, four-way flashers, and parking lights, red in color, properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or shattered out, not missing any nuts or bolts, in good condition and working order. Okay, I've got my rear reverse lamp. It's properly mounted and secured. Okay, it's clear in color. It's not cracked, broken, or shattered out, not missing nuts or bolts, in good condition, working order. Mud flap, properly mounted and secured. Okay, it's not cracked, bent, or broke. DOT tape is present, not missing nuts or bolts, in good condition, working order. Okay. Floor and cross members, properly mounted and secured. Okay, not cracked or broken. Floor is free of holes, in good condition and working order. Strong enough to support the cargo that I'm hauling, okay? Front and rear marker lights, okay? Amber and red, okay? Properly mounted and secured, okay? Not cracked, broken, or shattered out, not missing any nuts and bolts, okay? In good condition, working order, okay? Not cracked or damaged, okay? Landing gear, okay? My landing gear is properly mounted and secured, okay? The legs are not damaged or missing or bent, okay? My landing gear lever is locked in place, okay? It's raised all the way into upright position. Landing gear is not damaged, strong enough to support the weight of the cargo and the trailer when it's cranked down, okay? In good condition, working order. Come over here, intermediate four-way flasher and turn signal and parking light, okay? Amber in color, okay? Properly mounted and secured, not cracked, broken, or shattered out, not missing nuts or bolts, in good condition, working order. Okay, when you get over here, you got your service lines, okay? Your service lines are positioned to where they are not dragging the road, okay? They're not cut, freight, or dry rotted, in good condition, working order, okay? Next thing you've got is you got your, now guys, you got your tandem sliding rail right here, okay? Tandem sliding rail, it's not damaged, okay? It's not cracked, bent, or broke, okay? Your pins are locked in place, okay? That position, your pins are out engaged, that position, that specifies that your tandems are not going to slide, okay? All in good condition and working order, okay? Now your tandem sliding, your tandem slide is air powered, okay? The air powered, it's pushed in, it's in the engaged position. That specifies that the pins are out and they're not going to slide, okay? And it's not leaking, okay? Next thing after this, guys, what you would do, I'm gonna start on my suspension. Now guys, this is where it's different at, okay? This is where it's different. You don't have any springs here, okay? You don't have any springs. This right here is your tension or spring rod and your arm bar. Now everybody crawl up under there and look, okay? Back behind that wheel, you have an arm bar, okay? It's a bar, okay? You see it? That's the tension or spring rod and the arm bar. I want everybody to look at it, okay? Because if you don't know what you can't just, can you see it, Manny?
Yeah.
See that arm bar up under there?
Yeah.
Okay. You got your tensioner spring and your arm bar. You don't have any shocks on the trailer, okay? Tensioner spring and arm bar, okay? Both properly mounted and secured, not missing any nuts or bolts, not cracked, bent, or broke, okay? In good condition and working order, okay? Now the next thing you've got after that is you got a shock absorber up under there, because you will have to crawl up under there, okay? You got the shock absorber, it's properly mounted and secured, okay? Just like up there at the front. Shock absorber and shock absorber mounts are properly mounted and secured. They're not cracked, bent, or broke, okay? Shock absorber is not dented and no leaks, okay?
Where's the shock absorber?
Yeah, where's it hiding at?
Shock absorber, you're gonna have to crawl up under there.
Oh, it's on the back side of the frame?
Yeah,
See
it's
the
right over.
airbag.
Oh, okay. I see. I can see it from here.
Yeah, you
Alright,
gotta
yeah.
crawl up under there, guys,
You gotta look
okay?
through here then.
Yeah, you gotta crawl up under there because you can't stand up there and reach it, okay? So
Can you
will
do the
crawl
shock
up under
absorber
there.
when you're doing the other stuff on this side?
Well, I usually try to get all the suspension at first, okay? Then I get the shock absorber, and then I get, because after you get the shock absorber, you have your airbags right there, okay? You have your airbags, just like you did up there. You got your airbags and the airbag mounts are properly mounted and secured. My airbag mounts are not cracked, bent, or broke, not missing nuts, bolts, or screws, okay? My airbag is not cut or dry rotted and no leaks, okay? Now, as soon as you do that, you'll crawl up under there and you'll do your brakes exactly the way you did them on your steers and your tandems, okay? You'll start with the brake hose / line, okay? Now, when you grab that thing, make sure you grab it right there to where it's going into the brake chamber, okay?
So don't
You
grab the wrong
it up
thing.
here at the top, you grab that, okay? That takes care of your suspension. We're only dealing with the brakes, okay? So brake hose / line is coupled at both ends, coupled or clamped at both ends, not cut, frayed, or dry rotted, okay? And no leaks, in good condition, working order, and no leaks. Then you basically, from there, you'll go to your brake chamber. You'll say it's properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, bent, broken, or dented, okay? It's not missing any nuts or bolts. The clamp is in place. It's in good condition, working order, okay? Next thing after that, you got your slack adjuster and your push rod, okay? Slack adjuster and push rod is properly mounted and secured. It's not cracked, bent, or broke, not missing any pins or cotter keys, okay? With the brakes released, the truck in gear, and the engine off, you should be able to pull the push rod out no more than
1 inch.
1 inch, okay? Then after that, just like you did up there back behind the dust cover, you have the brake drum and the brake lining, okay? Both properly mounted and secured, not cracked, bent, broken, or warped, okay? Not missing any nuts or bolts, okay? Your brake drum is free of holes, okay? Both your brake lining and brake drum are free of oil and grease, and your brake lining is not worn dangerously thin, no less than
1/4 inch.
1/4 inch, okay? Then, just like you did up there, you come out, you got your bud rims. All you got to say on that is evenly spaced, free of debris, okay? Next thing after that, you got your tread. You got your, you're going to do your actual tandem wheels, okay?